Good afternoon, traders. This is a live trade recap of two trades that I took in the aftermarket. I have them recorded live and I commentated over them live, but they're just very long videos. Look at this one's 25 minutes, so I figured I better just do a recap. So, so again, getting the screener situated, that's always tricky, right when the market closes. So sometimes you got to restart Webull. That's when I restarted it. I always have it open on my laptop as well. So Mcep jumped up. Let me just see if I could catch it on the screener here, so you can see why I went for it. Let's see. There it is. Okay, so Mcep is the #1 after hours top gainers, almost up 25%. It's within my price range. Extremely low float. Maybe that's a little too low, but generally the lower the better, because once you get volume in, this is basically a little more than a 1-to-1 ratio of volume. Although this is volume throughout the day, so I kind of forget sometimes that this is not accurate for the after hours trading. But anyway, that low float size combined with volume can make the price move really quickly, very high, very quickly. So let's see. So I get in, right here for the break of that first 1 minute candle. That's like a classic entry for me in the aftermarket when these stocks just kind of pop up out of nowhere. Just trying to catch it here. It comes really fast as soon as this thing refreshes, as soon as I unlock. I kind of have a feeling that I'm just about to miss the entry when I get in. So this is like a classic entry for me in the aftermarket, is when these things shoot up to enter for the break of the first candle. And then I use the bottom of that entry candle, this candle here, as my stop loss. So I'm just waiting for it to hit 473, and there it popped all the way up to 493. I guess that was a result of the spread. So I got a ton of slippage there. And yeah, I guess I just kind of thought, well, my idea was to stay in until my stop loss gets hit. And, I wasn't committed to 2R at that point just because of the huge amount of slippage. And I had a couple of quick opportunities to sell some, which I probably in hindsight, I should have taken, but all my data from the last couple of weeks says I just need to hold, these things. So it's funny, as soon as you start doing the right thing, then, sometimes the market just slaps you back in the face saying, well, this is what you should have been doing all along. Now, all of a sudden you're going to do it. I'll show you. And that's pretty much what's been happening all day today. But that was my plan all along, is to if I would have got that 473, then I definitely would have done, like a 2R, attempted a 2R target, and still would have had my stop loss there. But since I got all that slippage, I was just looking to see, is this thing going to pop a little bit more, and then I'll scale out. But it never really gave me much of an opportunity to do that. Let's just fast forward a little bit because it's not really doing anything right there. Yeah, actually this takes a while. So let's go. So here it kind of bounces off the stop loss. Wherever I set my stop loss, it's actually got to break that level. So as soon as I see like a cent below the stop loss, that's when I get out. And then it just keeps bouncing. I did add 1 share here just because this is where I would have entered if I would have missed this opportunity and waited for a pullback. Although, to be honest with you, really, I think that was part just because I was in the trade, because that's not really an entry that I take anymore. I used to take that. When something like this happens, I generally just look for it to come back up to the high of day, shoot through it, and then wait for a pullback. So that was not a good ad on my part, but it was only 1 share. It wasn't like a true average down where, you double your position size to get a better price. That would have led to a much larger loss. And then, so there. as soon as, so, now it's tapping, and as soon as it breaks through, I cut the loss right there. So I got filled at 433, which I think was a few cents lower than, I think I wanted to get out at 439. So I got some slippage on the way down too. But the main thing is just to get, as soon as your stop loss is hit, you exit as soon as possible, because you don't know how far down that flush is going to continue. You don't know if it's going to bounce back up or not. There's no guarantees. So just get out the first opportunity you get. So that's that trade. This video just keeps going on and on. I think there's not really anything of importance there. So let's go to the next trade. Opnt. Now this was actually somewhat of a rule breaker to take this trade, because my limit is 15 minutes of each session, and then I don't really want to take trades anymore. But I decided to break that rule here, because this is kind of, although this is like pretty ugly price action, but just the fact that this thing made a high a day and then sold off and now broke through the high of day. One of my strategies is to enter on the pullback after it breaks the high a day, and that's one of the safest entries you can get. We'll see what happened here. And generally my entry is as soon as the high of a 1 minute candle is broken, which happens right there after this hammer. So now I'm in it for 11.50, and 2R is about $12, a little bit more than $12. So I do put a sell a profit target sell limit order at $12 for 90% of my shares, which is 2 shares. Technically that's not 90, but that's the way it breaks it up when you have a small amount of shares. And then of course my stop loss is for the low of this candle. Then this thing took a little while, and I kind of was like looking at my phone and doing other stuff and just keeping an eye on this once in a while. And then I didn't even realize it came down and hit my stop. I was looking at this level because that was what I'd marked out earlier for the pullback. And so it did actually hit my stop, but then it kind of bounced back up. So I missed the first opportunity to stop out. So I thought, well, I'll hang out to see if it bounces. But as soon as it hits my stop again, I'm out. And there it does it, and I get out. And again, I suffer some slippage there. I wanted to get out at like 11.24, and I got at 11.13. So, but there was only 3 shares, so that was a pretty small hit. So those were the 2 trades of the aftermarket. I still kind of watched this thing. My original idea was to see it pull back over here, but I think the breaking of the 1 minute candle, that trumps that for me. And excuse me. Sorry about that. I felt a sneeze coming on. It was a fake out. So anyway, yeah, this thing does come down. So I just kind of watch it, see like, well, what if I would have been more patient? Would this entry have worked? And this is where I would have entered, because this broke the high of that candle. And I would have gotten stopped out here too, because my stop would have been the low of the previous candle, and it hits it. Yeah, so it would have been stopped out there. So I would have just added to my red day with another red trade. So it's a good thing I just said, you know what, I've already taken my 2 trades of the session. Let me just forget it. It is what it is. And then, so my total for the day, I'm down 552. That kind of stings, because that's like, I guess it's about 1% of my account. So at least I'm within the 2% range. But again, that's kind of like a margin rule. So I like to keep it a little tighter for my account. But anyway, so yeah, there we go, negative 1.08%. So anyway, that's yeah, those are all my trades for today. I had 2 on SCKT. Let's just look at the spreadsheet. It's a little bit clearer on that. SCKT, I made $1.15 in the pre-market. Then I lost 4 cents on VERU and 46 cents on SCKT at the open. I have videos for those. And then we just went over these 2. MCEP, I lost $5. That was my big loser. That's like my biggest loser in a long time, maybe ever. Yeah, it looks like ever. And I don't really know what to say about that trade. Like I think the thing that happened there was really the slippage, because this trade works out for me a lot. You can see, these are all front side trades that I not only did I make money off of, but they all went to 2R. Whether I held them or not, it's a different story. But yeah, and those, I guess the best comparison is for the after hours, because that's when I take those. So here's front side winner, front side winner, front side winner, front side loser, right? So out of 4, one of them lost. So that's 75% success rate in the last bunch of front side trades that I taken in the after hours. So statistically, it works out. And if you just kind of count those trades up, it looks like I'm still in the green overall, but just barely, because this would be like $7 and change, so, but like one more loss like this, it'll definitely ruin. But some of these are from when the account was much smaller, before I boosted it up to 500. So I'm still at least ahead of that 500 that I started with. But yeah, this day hurt, but I stuck to my plan. I'm doing every single thing that I did last week, and last week was a good week. So, it's not because I'm taking dumb trades or anything different than I normally do. It's just that nothing really worked out today. So, yeah, so nothing else to say about that. The only good thing is that I took all my stop losses, and that's what ultimately protects my capital, because every single one of these just went down further and further. So I would be way more in the hole today if I did that. And actually, I let a lot of them go before 1R, and if I would have tried to hold them all to 1R, I would have actually been here. But that's still like debatable if that was a good idea or not. We'll have to see like at the end of the month, because this is my 2R P&L, and this would be where I would be for the month. And right now I'm only green 24 cents on the month. So 2R is still winning by far, even though today I beat 2R. This is what 2R would have done for me today, and this is what I did. So maybe I can combine my powers with the powers of 2R and come up with a really good strategy. We'll see. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hopefully it wasn't too much babbling for you. I hope you guys traded well. I hope the markets treated you better than they did me today. If not, just stick to your plan. Always take your stop loss, and tomorrow's another day. Take care.